And so now we have the pleasure of sitting down for a few moments with Rose Colella herself. Rose, we thank you for taking time out of your performance to chat with us.
My pleasure.
And sounding excellent as always.
Thank you very much.
Enjoying the set so far, for sure.
Thank you.
So we'd love to ask, first of all, about your performing here at Hemmingway Bistro. You've been here for a while, haven't you?
It's been many years, yes. I remember the moment that we were hired here because I was at Ravinia. And the guitarist that I usually work with here, Dan Effland, sent me a text and he said, how about Wednesday nights? And so we started, and I think it was about 6.5 years ago, maybe 7, I don't remember exactly. Then a couple of years later, we started doing the Sunday brunch as well. So we've always loved it here, and we feel like family here, and in fact, they tell us that we feel like family to them. So it's just a wonderful experience, and we've developed lots of relationships with regulars, and we just love it every time.
Yeah, very, very nice. And for sure, your music, style of your music, just the perfect marriage with the ambiance of the bistro.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And of course, if it wasn't for Rose, my brother and I wouldn't even know about Hemmingway Bistro because she's the one who first told us about it. We love the story of the first time that we met you. In fact, Jeff Boddicker, the gentleman who also co-produces Something to Wine About with us, was working one of the booths at the Uncork, Illinois Wine Fest that was in downtown Oak Park back in June, and Rose was performing there with your group, the Rose Colella Trio.
That's
and
right.
That was just lovely. Absolutely the crowning touch. Your music as a backdrop to all the wine that was flowing.
Oh, thank you. We loved it, and we don't often get to perform outside, so that was very fun, and just everybody that we didn't know at all, and everyone was having a great time. It's very fun.
I was wondering how it was for you as you're performing, and especially a setting like that. You're just seeing everything. You're seeing the kids jumping all over the place in the fountains. You're seeing the moms running behind, and so how was that for you as a performer, as you're singing your songs and getting into the music, and yet being able to take in all the surroundings of an outdoor venue like that?
It's very exciting because there's nothing but pure joy coming from everyone around you. Everyone's so happy to be there. The kids are dancing and playing in the fountain, as you said, and everyone loves to be drinking the wine and tasting things they've never tasted before. And also the 360, because there were people all the way around us and back of us clapping, and everyone is moving around constantly. So it's very fun because it's constantly changing, and that doesn't often happen with an audience who's just sitting.
Right. So static usually.
Right.
Yeah, that was not static whatsoever. So very nice. Okay. Well, of course, as we all know, the realm of music is so vast. There are so many different genres and so many different roles that one can play should they want to pursue music as a lifestyle. So we must ask you for yourself, what was the spark then that set you on your path of pursuing classic jazz vocals?
Oh, well, I would say there are a few sparks. There are a few influences and a few moments that I'll never forget. I grew up in a small town in Iowa called Indianola, and I was raised listening to jazz records, and also my grandmother was a jazz singer. Her name was Lola Bard, and she was a singer in the 1930s.
How lovely.
And she recorded with Bobby Hackett and with the original Dixieland Jazz Band, and we have some of her records and her sheet music.
It was such a lovely evening, the whole world seemed to rhyme. Yes, I hate to part, but sweetheart, we can't cuddle all the time. Good night, heaven so complete. Good night, till again we meet. To you and you, and especially you, in my arms, my love, good night.
Oh, fabulous.
She was just a wonderful lady and told lots of stories, and I fell in love with the music because of her and because of the records that my parents played, and also because, for instance, my mother had this subscription for me to Sheet Music magazine, and so I would just sit at the piano and play for hours every day, all of the music in this magazine that would come, and it was all the hits of the 30s and 40s and 50s, and There was also another moment I'll never forget in which I was hearing Louis Armstrong sing A Kiss to Build a Dream On. And that remains one of my favorite songs, and that's also one that I think I'll record soon for my next album. And at that moment I just thought, there's no other music that I can sing that will bring this much joy to me and hopefully to others who are hearing it, so this is what I have to do. But at the time, I didn't know that you could do it for a living, because as I said, I was in this small town. There weren't other jazz singers hanging around. So I just sort of felt like it was maybe a dream that I would have to just sort of put away. But then I found out after I went to college in another small town that you could actually major in jazz. So I immediately transferred to Roosevelt here in Chicago.
Wonderful.
And I got my degree in jazz here and have been performing professionally ever since.
That is excellent. So we're talking about your grandmother. This is literally in your blood then.
Yes.
You can't get more in your blood than that, the grandmother. That's lovely. And Lola Bard, the name of your production company, I understand. So certainly a tip of the hat to that fine lady.
Yes, exactly.
It's a beautiful story. How old were you when you first started taking piano?
Second grade.
Wow, just a little tight.
Yep.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, and I understand you teach music as well?
I do, yes. There's a wonderful private arts high school called the Chicago Academy for the Arts. And it's in downtown Chicago. And you can major in many different areas of the arts. I teach in the music department, which has 30-some students. And within that, they have their specialties. And so I teach all of the vocalists jazz, and they also study classical music with another wonderful vocalist named Alyssa Bennett. And then I also teach a jazz class and a piano class. And it's a wonderful environment.
I bet. How long have you been teaching?
I think about 6 years.
Very, very nice. Okay, so when you think about the young people now that you are involved with, you have an opportunity to influence them in a positive way, not just with your love of music, but certainly with your experience. And you're seasoned now. You can tell them about performing and recording and so forth. Generally speaking, how do you feel, and of course I'm just speaking in general terms, I know every student of course is individual, but when you think about the students that you have taught as a group, how do they respond? Do you feel that when you're giving them a message that's important to you, that you want them to grasp, that for the most part they are receptive to these concepts, or do you find it's more challenging to have them understand what it is that you're trying to impart to them?
I think sometimes it's challenging in terms of teaching them finer details of theory, for instance, but the heartfelt passion that I feel that I want to give to them and express to them and show them that they could then possibly go on and share with others, they're very receptive to. Even if they end up going in another direction, they all seem to be very receptive and very joyful in terms of learning this music that they haven't been exposed to before. And it's very important for me to show these young high school kids that they can go on and do this for a career, and that it's very important, and that I want them to keep it alive if they want to, and that we're all there to help them do it and show them how and point them in the right direction.
That is wonderful. That really is. And I think about, thinking back to the beginning, we think about your grandmother, who ends up really passing the baton, maybe even unknowingly, but she did pass it on to you. And then here you are actually reaching out then to the next generation and being able to carry on your grandmother's lovely legacy through not just your performance, but through your education of these young people. It's a beautiful thing.
Thank you. It's very important to me.
It really is. And you mentioned recording. You have an album, I believe, was released in 2009?
That's right.
Okay. And that was?
That was the Rose Colella trio featuring Dan Effland on guitar and Joe Policastro on the bass.
All right, very nice. And you mentioned an upcoming album.
Yes, I would like to record a quintet album this time around.
Oh, fun.
And I would like it to include A Kiss to Build a Dream On and also a couple of my grandmother's tunes. And then some of my personal favorites that Dan and Joe and I have come up with some special arrangements for.
Wonderful. Cannot wait. We can't wait to hear more of you, your trio. The quintet sounds excellent as well. And we look forward to the albums and the recordings as well.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, again, it was our pleasure. We appreciate your time. And yeah, more music awaits with Rose Colella.
Thank you so much.
is there to say? And what is there to do? The dream I've been seeking is practically speaking come true. What is there to say? And how will I pull through? I knew in a moment contentment at home meant just you. What is there to say? And what is there to do? My heart's in a deadlock. I'd even face wedlock with you. So, what is there to say? And what is there to do? My heart's in a deadlock. I'd even face wedlock.
Thanks very much, everybody. Thank you. It's our pleasure to play for you tonight. We're so happy that you're here with us.